After Nintendo Direct speculation sort of just kind of coming out of nowhere, it is E3 season, so I guess it's logical to assume that Nintendo might do something, but given their track record the last few years, I would have been totally fine with Nintendo just kind of sitting there not really doing anything. But sure enough, we had a Direct drop this morning, and for all intents and purposes, it was pretty good. In fact, in my opinion, it's one of the better general Directs we've had in recent memory. Although Nintendo has done pretty well about keeping their quality pretty consistent, with the only Direct kind of being subpar that I can think of being that one where we had like 10 different farming games, which I still don't understand why they thought that was a good idea. Why? Huh? But since it's a Direct and I like talking about Nintendo stuff, I figured I'd better jump on it. I'm Jax, this is Grand Starbit, let's get into it. Like most Directs, we jumped right into our first game, and it was the Pokemon DLC for Scarlet and Violet. Admittedly, I kind of just don't care. Scarlet and Violet were fine games on their own. I actually really enjoyed my time with the game, even though I never beat it. But the graphics, the glitches, everything just kind of combined, they really start to take a toll on you as you get through the game. And as fun as the game is, it's hard to defend it. And in the case of this DLC, which I'm sure is going to be great, all the problems were still very present. And I really don't think we're ever going to get a patch, at least on this console, to make the game slightly more bearable. But I could be completely wrong, and maybe they do manage to fix it up somehow. I doubt it, though. Got another look at Persona 5 Tactica. In fact, this trailer was new and wasn't a rehash trailer from the Xbox presentation or anything like that. It shows a little bit more of gameplay and just how the characters interact and all that. And as a massive Persona 5 fan, I am incredibly excited for this. I'm not super into tactical games, although I did enjoy the first Mario and Rabbids game. I'm definitely willing to give this a shot, especially since it's going to be on Game Pass on the Xbox, but I might end up just picking it up on the Switch as well, just to continue supporting Atlas on other platforms to hope the multi-platform releases just keep on coming. Next, we have Detective Pikachu 2, or Detective Pikachu Returns. I remember this was announced a while ago. In fact, I remember it being around the beginning of the Switch generation, alongside Pokemon Sleep, I think. And I remember playing the demo for Detective Pikachu and just kind of thinking it was okay. And then the movie came out and it didn't do super well at the box office, although in its defense, it was smushed in between John Wick 3 and Avengers Endgame, so of course it's not going to do super well. So everything just kind of combined in that situation made it weird that they would even want to pursue a sequel in the first place. But I believe the movie sequel is finally kind of getting into motion, so maybe they're releasing this in hopes of jump-starting interest in that again. I don't know, the game honestly doesn't look that great, I'm gonna be real. I don't know what it is with Game Freak and just not being able to get good-looking games on the Switch. They had one moment where they lapsed and made one of the prettiest games ever, New Pokemon Snap, and now they're just back to kinda graphics. Not to mention the Pikachu sounds weird too. I don't really like him, if I'm gonna be honest. But I don't know, maybe this one will surprise us and end up being a fun time. And on the bright side, maybe they'll re-release that amiibo. It was around here where we had this weird moment of consistent heavy hitters, starting of course with one of the highlights of the show, Super Mario RPG. This is of course a remake of the Super Nintendo game that really built up a cult following over the last decade or so. People are always talking about this game and how good it is. I personally haven't played it, so I can't really speak to how quality it is, but given that it's a Square Enix game and a Nintendo game, I'm sure it's fantastic, especially because around that era Square Enix was putting games out like Chrono Trigger. But still, this is a surprise, as I don't think anyone ever expected this to happen, at least not until the rumors started circulating a few days ago. But it looks fantastic. It looks one-to-one with how the original game looked, and even though it was kind of jarring at first, it having a unique style is very much in its favor. In fact, I think it makes it more appealing to some extent. It just helps it stand out a little more in the crowd. I'm actually very excited to finally give this game a try, as I don't mind the look and feel of Super Nintendo games, but it is a lot harder for me to get into those sometimes. And it's coming out this year, which is honestly really nice to see. And then immediately after that, Nintendo is just like, hey, here's a Princess Peach game. You'll see like 20 seconds of gameplay and that's kind of it. But from the little bit of gameplay we got, it kind of looks Paper Mario-esque. They didn't show us enough to really fully understand what genre of game it's going to be, but it does kind of look RPG-ish. There's not much to go off, and I believe they said it's releasing next year, so I'm sure we'll see more of it at the September Direct or the February Direct next year. But it does look really cool, and it's nice that Princess Peach is getting her own game. We haven't had one of those in a long time. In fact, I think it was Super Princess Peach on the DS. My boss did a video on that game. You should go check it out. It's really good. I edited it. But then right after that, straight into another Mario game, and this one is really weird and unexpected, but I'm not complaining. Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon is getting a remaster on the Switch. Huh? I don't know who asked for that, but I'm down for it because I love this game. I am a Dark Moon apologist. I will support this game until the day I die. I don't care if it's not like the first Luigi's Mansion or the third one. I think it's a fun time still. And yes, that is probably mostly nostalgia talking. I don't know. I'll probably do an entire video on this game at some point, either when the remaster drops or if I manage to replay it this year at some point. But I think this is a really cool get for the Switch, especially since the 3DS eShop has died and it's not as easy to get these 3DS games. But hey, we're getting Dark Moon, so Where's Kid Icarus? Please, I'm begging you. Yeah, it's not particularly surprising to see Nintendo kind of doubling down on Mario content, especially after the Super Mario Bros. Movie did well above expectations. And as we'll see at the end of the show, they just keep doubling down. And after this, we go into the typical middle direct third-party fluff. This happens in like all of them, so it's not really surprising. However, it does begin with games that I'm super excited to see finally come to the Switch, and that have been rumored / talked about for years at this point, and that's the Batman Arkham trilogy. And interestingly enough, the first two games are running natively, which isn't particularly surprising because they're PS3 and Xbox 360 games, but Arkham Knight is too. I'm not sure how that's gonna work. Arkham Knight was giving base PS4 and Xbox One troubles running, so if they manage to get this game run smoothly at all on the Switch, I'm gonna be shocked. But regardless, this trilogy is fantastic. I absolutely love the Batman Arkham games. I think they are genuinely the best superhero games ever made. Yes, I'm including Spider-Man PS4 into that, fight me. And it's nice that it's gonna open this up to an entirely new audience and hopefully let us play it at a decent resolution and portable. I don't really have my hopes up, if I'm being honest. Randomly in the middle, they did have a Hot Wheels game, which kind of looked fun, I'll be honest. I don't know. Maybe this is just me. Maybe I'm going crazy. I'm probably going crazy. They showed the Mario Rabbids DLC. Looks cool. I still haven't played Sparks of Hope, honestly. It's not because it's bad or anything. In fact, the game when it released got like nothing but praise. I just haven't really felt like playing it, even though I've owned it since like December. So, I don't know, maybe I'll check it out eventually. Pikmin 4 looks surprisingly good, both as a game and visually, and it's wild to me that of all the games to look better than a Pokemon game, which mind you is $1 billion franchise, is Pikmin. And even then, Pikmin 4 doesn't look astounding by any means. It just looks good, but that's besides the point. Pikmin 4 looks really fun. Admittedly, I've only ever played Pikmin 3, and even then I didn't play it for very long. I got it for free on my Wii U whenever they were giving away a game for buying another game for some reason. I don't remember, but they are dropping a demo, so if I like that, maybe I'll check it out and purchase the game. And if I do like it, I'll make a video on it. Why not? I don't got anything else to do these days. And as a fun little bonus, they are remastering sort of Pikmin 1 and Pikmin 2 for the Switch. Just like Metroid Prime at the beginning of the year, they did shadow drop the digital versions of these games, but they did say on Twitter that they're doing a physical release in September, which I am honestly super interested in and probably pick up even if I don't really like the Pikmin games. But I'm gonna try them anyways. Why not? This had been confirmed already, but it was nice to see it here. The Metal Gear Solid Master Collection, Volume 1. This looks like most of the Metal Gear games, so I'm not sure what they're gonna put on Volume 2, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. It has Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, and 3, the Metal Gear games on the NES, and a bunch of other random stuff. It's a really neat package, and I think it's a really neat throwback to all the Metal Gear stuff, especially because that series hasn't had a lot of love since Metal Gear Survive, which if we're being honest, the series not getting a lot of love since that game makes sense because that game was awful. But I've never played the Metal Gear games before, so I do intend on picking this up and finally trying them out for the first time. We got another wave of Mario Kart 8 DLC. I actually haven't touched any of the DLC before this, but they are adding new characters, which I think are really cool, including Kamek, who was supposed to be in the first Mario Kart, but was taken out, and for some reason he just never appeared again. I don't understand why, but it's cool that he's here finally. They also added a new course as well, and it honestly looks really nice from the little bit we did see of it. In fact, most of these brand new DLC courses have been really detailed, and you could tell the Mario Kart team is putting a lot of love into them, which hopefully means good things for whenever they eventually release Mario Kart 9, hopefully. Please. Mario Kart 8 has been the dominant Mario Kart for like half of my life at this point, and that's really weird to think about. WarioWare Move It. This was kind of a surprise since we had just gotten the WarioWare game about 2 years ago. I'm not really complaining because that one was really fun, and this one is at least doing something a little different. It's using the motion controls, which is very similar to the Wii version. In fact, this is almost a spiritual successor to it, which I think is really cool. And it looks like a fun time as well. I mean, most WarioWare games are a fun time to just screw around with, even if it's not for very long. They kind of tease us with Tears of the Kingdom DLC. We didn't get it here, unfortunately, but it makes sense that they want the game to still breathe a little bit before they drop the DLC and get everyone sucked back in. But they did finally show us a new Zelda amiibo and a new Ganondorf amiibo. As an avid amiibo collector, I mean, I literally have 5 of these things sitting on my desk right now. Please send help. My bank account is running low fast. These look really nice, and in fact, the Zelda model is new artwork that they didn't even show before the game released, and I'm incredibly excited to add these to my wall of amiibo that I'm slowly running out of room on. And then lastly, and I think the highlight of the show overall for a lot of people, we finally, after years and years of waiting, got a new 2D Super Mario Brothers. New Super Mario Brothers has been taken out back and shot with a shotgun. Thank goodness I don't want to see that series ever again, except for in another Mario Maker. I don't mind it, Mario Maker. Super Mario Brothers Wonder. Now, this game visually is incredibly distinct compared to New Super Mario Brothers. There are a few similarities, but they're not big enough to really put me off or anything. But this game is just oozing with charm. I absolutely love everything we saw in it and cannot wait to check it out in October. He plays Mario, Luigi, Peach, Toad, and Daisy, which I think is awesome. I think it's really cool that they've added Daisy into the mainline games, and I hope at some point maybe they do DLC or free content that adds other Mario characters like Wario, Waluigi, Rosalina, Polly, and whoever, just to expand the roster and make it a little more fun for everyone. But the standout from this was, of course, the weird elephant mushroom. No, get that thing away from me, please. But I am absolutely pumped for this game. I love 2D platformers. I think that's my favorite genre just in general. And it's been so long since we've had a proper 2D Mario game that I'm absolutely through the roof to see what the team at Nintendo has done to really shake things up with this game. And just from that trailer alone, I can tell they've done a lot. Overall, that Direct was incredibly solid. In fact, like I said at the beginning, I think it's one of the best we've had in a long time. The pacing was incredibly good. Aside from that middle area where these Directs do tend to usually falter, so I kind of give it a pass for that. But this, in my opinion, is a very solid A. And in fact, if this thing had aired the same week as not E3, I probably would have given it the #1 spot in that week. But since it technically wasn't really in the not E3 week, I'm not going to rank it there. But if you want to see who I do rank as the #1 not E3 week, feel free to check back next week. I'll have another video for you on that. I think the things I'm most excited for out of everything here is pretty much all the Mario stuff, and that's kind of it. We have kind of been in a Mario drought recently, so maybe it's just me being thankful for the overwhelming amount of Mario content at this point. Yeah, let me know how you felt about the Direct down below. I will have another video out next week, like I just said, and over the next month or two, I will be trying to stay a little more consistent. So if you'd like to see more, feel free to subscribe, like for more content like this, and I will see you in a bit.